Going back to South Africa is always a challenge for me. People make plans and then they don't show up. People make plans and then they cancel at the last minute. In the past, it used to be really frustrating for me because that's just not how it's done. And I keep saying in Europe or even in polite society, right? And it used to cause me stress. It used to cause me anxiety because people were not behaving the way I wanted them to, the way that I, in my mind, in my book, thought was the right way. But it was only upsetting me because those people were just doing what they wanted. So, older and wiser, I embraced the theory of let them. Let them. They want to cancel. Let them. They want to make plans and then not show up. Okay, let them. And then let me decide how I am going to respond to that. And I say respond because react is not the right word. A reaction is knee-jerk, it's immediate. Response is controlled, it's logical, it's intellectual, it's from the head and not the heart. And by the way, if this resonates with you, I've just started a new channel called Mindcraft. I know nothing, but I am learning and I'm sharing with you. But that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is about the book, Let Them. It's a New York Times bestseller, so let's talk about this today. Now, this idea of let them, it isn't just a book club, it isn't just a theory, it's becoming a movement, a mindset, your ticket to living a freer life, a more peaceful life. And by the way, I've heard that it's now trending. People are getting let them tattooed on their arms, on their wrists, just to remind themselves to just let them, because it is such a beautiful concept. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, stay tuned. I'm going to unwrap it all for you. Now, have you ever spent hours stressing over what someone else thinks of you? Or maybe you've tried controlling a situation. I'm guilty of this, right? Only to end up exhausted and frustrated. You really trying to control everything, but it doesn't lead to a good outcome. It just stresses you out. It exhausts you physically and mentally. Now, if you're guilty of this, like I am, if you answered yes, then this book and this book club that I've created are definitely for you. So today I'm going to share what the let them theory is all about. I'm going to tell you about some famous icons who lived this philosophy without even realizing it. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the book club at the end. So first things first, what is the let them theory? In its simplest form, it's about letting people be who they are. Just let people be who they are. Let situations unfold as they will. And free yourself from the stress of trying to control everything. So, 3 things. Let people be who they are. Let situations unfold as they will. And free yourself from the stress of control. So, unchain yourself. Now, you're thinking, this sounds like I'm being passive, I'm being a doormat. Actually, it's not. It's probably the opposite. It's about focusing your energy on the one thing that you can control. Now think about this. What is the one thing that you can control? Yeah, you got it right, yourself. Because can you control other people? Can you control who they are? No. Can you control every situation? No. Can you control yourself? Yes. So it's about focusing your energy on the only thing that you have control over, yourself. Now, here's an example from Oprah Winfrey. Early in her career, she faced criticism, right? About her style, about her hair, about her weight, about her topics. There were a lot of personal assaults. Now, she had a choice. She could have tried to please everyone, or she could just let them. So instead of trying to please everyone all of the time, impossible. Listen to me say that, right? It's impossible. So what did she do? She let them. She let them talk. She focused on doing what she loved. She focused on creating value for the world as she saw it. And guess what? She became a global icon by being authentically herself. So when people criticized her and she said, let them, she took away that power and she redirected it to herself. And then she focused on what she had control over, what she could do, what she could create, and she became a global icon. Now, tell me, which area of your life do you find the hardest to let go of? Is it work? Is it relationships? Or is it what others think of you? Take a moment, maybe pause the video to think about this and comment below. I'm curious to hear which area of your life do you find the hardest to let go of, to just say, let them? Your work, your relationships, or what others think of you? Take a moment, think about this. Now, if you've already commented, let's move on to the story of Steve Jobs. And did you know that Steve Jobs was notorious for saying no? Why did he say no? Because he focused on a few things and he let everything else go. When people pushed him to create more products, he said no. He stuck to his vision. They got annoyed, he let them. He let them get annoyed. So letting those critics complain, letting them get annoyed, well, what did he do? He transformed the world with the iPhone. So when they were annoyed, when they were criticizing him, when they were berating him, he just let them. He let them because he knew where he wanted to focus his energy. And so thank you, Steve Jobs, for transforming the world with not so much the iPhone. I'm not an iPhone user, but for the MacBook. I've had two so far. For my Magic Mouse, for my keypad, for my iPad, right? So he applied this philosophy to his life and look what he achieved. Now imagine applying this philosophy to your life. Okay, now in this part of the video, I really want you to take a moment and to think about this. Have you ever tried to make someone happy who didn't appreciate your effort? Have you ever stayed up all night worrying about something that was out of your control? I've been there. I've been in those situations. I have bent over backwards to make people happy, and they didn't appreciate my effort. And then I felt undervalued. I felt unappreciated. I became stressed, mentally exhausted, trying to understand why people behave in this way. And I have stayed up all night worrying about something that was out of my control. For example, I don't live in my home country, so I have residency in other countries, and those processes are in the hands of government officials, overpaid, underworked, and as rude as they come. And once upon a time, that used to stress me out. And now I am embracing that philosophy of let them. So they don't want to process my documents. They want to take the full 90 days. Well, let them. Because when it's all over, I get to go on with my life, travel, have fabulous experiences, and they still stuck behind that desk, being mean, stuck in their own horrible little personalities, in jobs that they absolutely hate. So let them. Just let them. I have a lovely student who told me about this philosophy her mother had or has, and it's when someone's being rude to you, just imagine them with a piece of paper in front of their faces saying, I'm a piece of shit. And I use this whenever I have to do any kind of government work, and I just look at the person and I read, I'm a piece of shit. That's the only reason I'm behaving this way. And so I let them. And then I just smile and elevate to a higher frequency and get on with my life, right? So this let them theory teaches us to just let go of pressure. And you know, when you do something amazing, right? You create a YouTube channel and you reach 10,000 subscribers or 100,000 subscribers, or you get a promotion and you get a bonus, or you buy a new car, and the people around you are the ones who are not clapping, who are not applauding. There's no validation. It feels like there's no love. Well, instead of chasing that validation, instead of chasing that love, just say to yourself, well, if they don't appreciate me, if they don't see the hard work that I put into this, if they can't be happy for my success, well, let them. Let them. And instead of trying to fix every situation, remind yourself, if it doesn't work out, well, let it. Now, would you like to share with me what's one thing you've struggled to let go of recently? I really want to hear your thoughts. For me, it really is my residency application. And at the beginning, and for a time, I was getting stressed out, and then I just thought, let them. And I took back my control. I changed the dates of my vacation, and you know what? I extended it because I can. Now, it's time for a quick quiz to see if you are ready to embrace the let them theory. All right, so you've planned a big party. Someone cancels at the last minute. What do you do? A, do you get upset and try to convince them to come? Or B, let them stay home and enjoy your party without worrying? Yeah? Well, if you are A, you need to transition to B because life will be a lot less stressful, trust me. Another one, a co-worker criticizes your work in front of the team. How do you respond? Punch them is not the right answer. It's probably the most satisfying, but it's not the right answer. So you have two options here with me today. Defend yourself and explain why you're right. B, let them. Let them have their opinion and focus on doing your best work. Let them. Let them. And another one for you. Your friend doesn't return your call for days. And what's your next step? And this happened to me. A, keep texting until they reply. B, let them take their time and trust that the friendship will balance out. I embraced the let them theory. Sat back, did nothing. After about 2 weeks, I got a call. But the person pretended that they hadn't disregarded my call or they hadn't not responded to my call. And I let them. And once I let them, I also sat back and I evaluated the situation. I evaluated the friendship. I evaluated how much more energy I wanted to put into that relationship going forward. Don't beg. Don't beg for people to behave the way you would like them to or you think is the right way. Let them. If someone wants to be a jerk, let them. Someone wants to be an asshole, let them. Now, I said I've got a book club, so let's talk about the book club. All right, so we do readings, we do discussions, all the things that I have been talking about in this video. And we really get to dive deep. There are 5 sessions. We cover 4 chapters per session. There's a full PDF with the questions. And by the way, since you guys do follow me, you subscribe, you watch my videos, if you're watching until the end, then guess what? You're going to get the free PDF with the questions. You can work through it on your own. Now, before we wrap up, people are generally curious about me or anyone who has a YouTube channel. They want to know some facts. They want us to spill the tea about stuff. Well, let's see. What's something that you might not know about me? I'm a bookworm. I've always been a bookworm, and I started out reading romance and then ended up writing romance, and I've won a couple of international competitions with my romance writing. And you know what? It's not as easy as it looks. It's quite technical. All right. So with Valentine's Day coming up, that's an interesting fact, isn't it? Are you a bookworm? And I'd love to know, what's your favorite book? Please do share in the comments below. Now, let me leave you with a quote from a book that really resonated with me, or from this book, right? The freedom you seek isn't in controlling others, it's in letting go. So, the freedom that you seek isn't in controlling others, it's in letting go. Because when you try to control others, it's more of a power move, it's not freedom. The real freedom is in letting go. And in 2024, my word of the year was freedom. The freedom to do what I want, travel where I wanted to, teach as much as I wanted to, teach as little as I wanted to, the freedom to take the calls I wanted to, the freedom to dictate my own schedule, real freedom. And I think that was a response to COVID, being locked up, being trapped, almost like in a cage. So in 2024, I wanted freedom, but it was more about the external, right? The freedom to travel, the freedom to work, the freedom to earn this much, or work 10 hours a day or 2 hours a day, the freedom to work on Sundays or not work on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the freedom to travel to Italy whenever I wanted to, the freedom to be able to buy a plane ticket and go home when I wanted to, and the freedom to take a call, the freedom to not take a call. But with this book, there's a different concept of freedom. True freedom is in letting go. It's not just stepping out of the cage, it's also removing the chains that are wrapped around you. Does that make sense? Yeah, I hope it does. So, if you enjoyed this topic, if you want more excerpts from the Let Them Theory book, then do let me know in the comments. But thank you for joining me for this first session. Moving on, and because I am so fascinated by this book, by the ideas, I am going to do some reading excerpts from the book. And also, if you are interested in manifestation, understanding your mind, diving deeper into who you are beneath the surface of your job, your title, I'm a mother of 2 children, or I am this executive, or whatever, but really getting to understand who you are, then please do consider joining our Mindcraft channel. It's where I take all the wonderful information that's out there in the universe, and I try to condense it, and I try to explain it, and I give my perspective. And even though I am a certified life coach, that's not what this channel is about. I'm not an expert. I am by no means an expert. I am a learner in this university of life. I am learning, I am sharing, and I'd love you to join me on this journey. So thank you for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed this kind of summary of the Let Them theory, and I hope you join me for the next one. So please take a moment to like and subscribe.